What's happening, FlowChat Connector? Hope you're doing well today. Today, we got another killer high-ticket tune-up for you. We're going to talk about another NLP frame inside of high-ticket sales series here. And today, we're going to talk about how to agree with everything, but still get your own way. Stay tuned. What's happening, FlowChat Connector? Sean here, back at you with another high-ticket tune-up. Hope you're ready today. Today's a great week. We are in the middle of the week, so that's fantastic. And I had a great question come in yesterday from a dude named Alex. I've had several conversations with him. He's really amazing. He's in the nutrition and health space. And one of the things that he asked me was this. He said, Sean, how do you get someone to sign up during the call if they're persistent about needing to get off the phone and look at their budget first? And while I would never ever suggest anybody push this, what I would suggest is using this NLP sequence in your conversation. And I'll show you how to answer this exact question using the framework, because today we're going to talk about how to agree with everything and still get your own way. So Alex, this one's going to be really valuable for you. I'll make sure and tag you in this post so that you can see it for sure. Let's dive into it. All right. So how do you agree with everything and still get your own way? Well, let's talk about agreement frames. This is how to agree with everything and still get your own way. Okay. So this NLP pattern is used to lower someone's defenses and get them to really listen to you. Right? It's to get you guys on the same page. I always talk about whenever I'm having a sales conversation with somebody, it's never fist to fist like this. It's always you need to swing around the desk and punch at the same thing, because when you can be together with your prospect on the same team, you will get agreement much faster, right? And so this is one of those little techniques that you can just sprinkle into your conversational language patterns and watch what happens. Okay, so here's how it works. Here's examples of when we want to use this. Now, the first example is with Alex. He said he was on the phone and he wanted to go into the pricing and the breakdown of the pricing. And the prospect kept saying, well, no, look, I got to get off the phone. I got to look at my budget first before I can even talk about any of this. And so we're going to put ourselves in that context here in a minute once we've talked about this framework and how you can use it. So when you need to attach additional conditions to anything someone has said. Now, this particular example is going to be perfect for Alex because he needed to attach additional conditions to something that the prospect said to him. Okay. The other one is this: when you need to bypass the original comment and move the conversation onto agreement. That's the other place where you want to use this specific NLP technique. And the NLP technique is very simple to use, right? And here it is. It's I agree and I'd add this. I agree and I would add this. Now, when you're using NLP techniques, right? Statistics and scientists and psychologists and all these people have proven you need to slow down your speech patterns when you're actually using these NLP techniques. So what I teach my members, my clients, my students, everybody is in the morning, if this pops into your head, I agree with that and I'd like to add, right? It's very simple. You're agreeing with the prospect and you're adding something else. So when I teach people this, I say, listen, in the morning, if you think about this, get in front of the mirror and say it in your best Barry White voice, very slow, sexy. I agree. And I'd like to add, why do we say it slow? We say it slow simply because it will bypass your conscious mind and work directly into your subconscious mind. That's what NLP is all about. So let's get into a couple of examples. Here's a normal pattern of how to use this. Someone says, hey, your program is too expensive. You say, I agree the program is expensive, but that's why it's packed with so much useful information. I agree the program is expensive, and that's why it's packed with so much information. And then you can go on and ask another question that will get them to agree with you and move forward. So can you imagine what it would look like once you've completed the course and you have this much income coming in? Would you say receiving $100,000 for the initial investment of 10 is a good return for you? Like, you can start throwing all these questions after you use this pattern, because now you have your prospect exactly where you want them, where they're going to have to agree with you, right? And so that's the normal pattern. I agree the program's expensive, and that's why it's packed with so much useful information. Very key to use that word and not but. Right? And then here's a super pattern. If you remember one of my previous sessions, we talked about the redefine, if X, then Y, and that means. Okay, so that was one of the other patterns we taught in a previous session. If you missed that one, there'll be a link somewhere around this video. You can go find it. But if you combine more than one NLP pattern, this is now what they call a super NLP pattern or a super pattern. And so if you're going to use a super pattern, it sounds something like this. I agree the program is expensive and would add. Okay. So that's the first one. That's the agreement frame that we're using. The issue is not expense. So it's not X, but how much money you will make, Y. And that means, or from getting involved with. So it's like 2 NLP patterns combined into one. I agree the program is expensive, and I would add the issue isn't expense for you, but how much money you will make from getting involved with me. Isn't that what we're really talking about here? Right. Now I've got an agreement with him or her, and they would say, yes, that's absolutely what I need to stay focused on, right? And so a couple of pro tips I wanted to share with you here, and then I'm going to come back and show Alex exactly how to answer that one, so stick with me. A couple of pro tips. Number one, this pattern works simply because people like to be agreed with. If you ever get in a conversation and you say, I disagree with you, right? Now, there's a certain personality that's going to work really well with. People love to argue, right? Like usually the high D, the high C, those types of people don't care about arguing. They like to argue as part of the thing. But 98% of the people on this planet like to be agreed with, right? Makes them feel good inside. So our job is to make them feel good inside and also get them to change their thought pattern and then agree with us, right? So that's why it works. And again, I mentioned this earlier. You must use the word and, not but. Here's 2 examples. I agree, right? So, but what I would add is versus I agree and what I would add is, see, the but you don't want to use. So do not use but, use and. Right? No buts, just ands. And then the variation of this, again, now let's say for somebody said something so obscene and you're out there and you're like, whoa, like I could never use this pattern, Sean. It's just that guy said something that was too crazy for me. Modify it. Here's the variation theme. Hey, I agree with almost all of what you just said. I agree with almost all of that. And I would add this, right? And now the person you're talking to doesn't know which part you actually agree with and you don't agree with, but he's still accepting the fact that you agreed with him or her. And now they got their full attention, their ears are on you, and they will listen to whatever it is that you have to say. So with that said, now I'm going to come back and I'm actually going to share exactly how to use this framework. So I'm back here on this slide here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to bring up the comment again. Here we go. So let's see, banners from Alex. Alex asked this. Alex says, how do you get someone to sign up during the call if they're persistent about needing to get off the phone and look at their budget first? Well, what I would say is, hey, Alex, I agree that you do need to look at your budget. And I would like to add that before you go and do the research on your budget, I wanted to cover all the price points that we have to offer so that the next time that we speak, it's going to be very easy for you to make a quick decision. Does that sound like something you can do? Yes. You've created yes momentum. You've gotten to use this framework. And now you're in a place where that person says, oh my God, he's just making my life easier for me, because that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, hey, I agree. You need to go look at your budget. And that's a thing. Get out your calendar. Let's block another time for after you've done that. And I'd like to add, before we do that, I need to show you the price points of all the different offers, because I feel like there's 2 or 3 that might fit exactly what you're looking to accomplish. So let's look at those first. Then we can depart and you can go look at your budget and we'll get back on the phone. When was that? Get your calendar out again? Boom. Got it. Right? And so I'm using this technique in a way to where I agree that they have to go look at their budget, yet they need to understand all the price points. Because what he said to me, he said, Sean, he's like, I was just going into all the price points and everything for my presentation. And he stopped me and he said, I can't do this yet. I got to get off the phone. That's exactly when I would use this agreement frame in my conversation. So with that said, you just been tuned up. You just learned one of the secrets that not very many sales professionals know. Put it in your world today. Go around and have conversations saying, I agree. And it would add, I agree. And would add, I agree. I just like to share that I'd also add this, right? And then you can start using your own language patterns with this pattern to create something that's your own, right? So practice exactly, I agree, and would add, whatever it is, and work on that. Try it today. See how it works for you, because I can promise you, if you're getting into someone's head, this is one of the fastest ways to get agreement with people and get them to listen to you truly, and their subconscious mind is paying attention. So with that said, you just been tuned up. Make sure and smash that like button. Share this out to the algorithm God so more people can get this information and knowledge. And if you're obviously, please subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on, because I want to keep showering you with the skills to master high ticket sales and the lost art of prospecting. With that said, I love your face and I can't wait till I see you next time.